Greetings, 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 everyone. Steve, Paracords of Kindness. How are you doing today? Hopefully, your weaving's been happy. Okay, what I have for you today is hopefully going to be a pretty brief video. Have you ever tried or wanted to make a Bane's cuff, wide Bane's cuff, and you've seen how it's been set up in some tutorials, and you've wondered, I wonder if there's another way to do it. Well, stick around, and I'll show you the method I came up with to make a wide Bane's cuff with a buckle. Okay, folks, like I said, I've made quite a few of these, and I've seen I watched a lot of the tutorials on the wide Bane's cuff, Bane cuff, all the different varieties, and most of them were done with a knot and loop type closure. There was only a few that were done with a buckle, and because of the nature of the way this thing is, it's kind of an unorthodox bracelet to make. It has an independent core or a separate core. And what I mean by that is that the core strands are not actually part of the bracelet. The core strands are not the same cords used to weave the bracelet. And I know when I first tried to do this, I was like, that's kind of strange. And I watched the videos, and I was like, well, I don't like knot and loop closure. I want it on a buckle. And like I said, there was a few, and I just didn't like the method they used. Personally, it wasn't my favorite. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I sat down and I thought about this. And this is what I come up with. You know, you can always use it. And there are a few bracelets out there that this independent core, as I call it, I don't know if there's an actual technical name for it or not. Independent core, separate core, meaning the core strands are not part of the weave of the bracelet. So you got to figure out what to do with them. Let's see, what's one bracelet I know of off the top of my head? I think it's called a bone tower. It's like that. But this one being so wide and so big and so many core strands, it causes a lot of people problems. A lot of people want to attempt this, and then that's kind of an intimidating factor, is that independent core. And how do you set that up? How do you do it? I'm going to show you what I come up with. Hopefully this will help. I'll show you how I do this. Okay? It's not really hard. I sat down one day and I started thinking about it. I'm gonna attempt to do this. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I've done this on here's one I've done. And this is on a 3/4 inch buckle. And I've done another one also on a 3/4 inch buckle. And I've made another one, and it was sold actually. And it was done on a 3/4 inch buckle. And for those who know, watching in my videos, you know I like neat, clean, and tight. And trying to run all these core strands through a 3/4 inch buckle, they bunch up. You see how they're bunched up? They're overlapped, and I don't like that. See, I want them to lay in there flat. So I ended up getting me some 1-inch buckles, and see how they all lay flat? Now the bottom of it kind of sits funny. Just the nature of the way this thing's done. But, you know, I'll show you. I'll just show you. You know, maybe you can put this in your tool belt, maybe to help. Maybe you can modify it, use it, do whatever. You know, like I said, I'm just here to help. Okay, this is what I do. The issue, like I said, is it's an independent core strand. And I've seen people do this where they'll set it up and they have the 2 core strands that come out, and they're dangling. And you got to, what do I do with those? Well, you're going to back weave them into the bracelet. But the thing is, you can't do that until you get the bracelet woven. But you want to keep them secure on your jig or whatever. And I've seen some pretty unorthodox methods of doing this. This is what I come up with. First off, you want those core strands, unlike most bracelets, that the core strands end at the top buckle. Why? Because those core strands become part of the weave of the bracelet. Well, this one doesn't. So you have to end your core strands at the bottom. So everything's kind of reversed. But we're setting up an 8-strand core for a wide Bane scuff, right? Okay, this is what I do. This is the way I do this. It's basically, it's really simple. Actually, when I stopped and I started thinking about this and I applied my my mind to figuring this out, I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. All you do is you start off with a cow hitch at the bottom. So you come, let's see, you come from underneath and you go up, like any cow hitch. You pull it through. I'll do it this way. You just pull it through like you do anything else. And the loop you got, you bring them through. You bring both those cords through the loop. That's all there is to it. Obviously, you're going to measure out your jig and get your sizing and all that, right? But I'm just showing you how I set up these core strands. Right? And you just put it on there. And that's it. And then the rest of it's pretty simple until there's a trick at the end that I did. Okay, so you take your two, you go to the top buckle. You go to the top buckle and you go through the top. And now this is where you'd separate them on either side and pull them tight. Right? Okay, now we'll deal with this side first. Go to the end of your cord. Go through the top of the buckle. Pull it tight. Okay, now this one, let's see. Is that right? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this side. Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, over on this side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go through the top of the bottom buckle. Take out your slack. Take the end of the cord and go through the top of the buckle again. Through the top of the top of the buckle. Does that make sense? Right. Okay, now here's the deal. This was the issue. If you leave it like this and you come down for this last pass to get down here, because right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 core strands. We need 8. So if you just take these 2 and run them back down here to the bottom, what you end up having is down here at the bottom, you've got 6 cords going through this slot, which take up all the slot. You don't have any room for this slopping and sliding. It's not neat, clean, and tight, right? No problem. But if you leave it like that at the top, that's what you end up with. And for those who watch my videos know, I don't like that. I want it to be completely filled in. So you don't have this sliding back and forth, this slack, if you will. So what I'll do is on this last pass, I'm going to put a cow hitch on either end. And that doubles up, that puts 1 extra cord running through there. Doesn't change the number of core strands running between the top and the bottom buckle, but it does put another core strand going through the slot on either side. So you end up with 6 cords going through the top slot and 6 cords going through the bottom slot. And it fills in that space. So the way you would do this is take the end of this on the left side. You take the end of your cord and you go up through here. You go over, and then you take the end of the cord, and then you go through the bottom of the buckle into this slot here. Let me turn this light over here. Maybe that'll help a little bit. And you go up through this hole. Okay, now this loop that you're forming right here, you come through this loop. And there's your cow hitch. And all that's done is just created one more cord going through this slot. Right? And now you have this cord to run down here. And I'll show you that in a second. So we do the same thing on the other side. We take this outside cord strand we have right here. We find the end of it. And we go underneath and come up through here. Now we go across the top, get the end, and we come from the bottom through the slot. And this loop that you've formed, you come through this loop. You pull out the slack, and it creates another cow hitch on this side. And it adds one more strand, one more cord going through this slot. So now you have a total of 6 cords. And that's what a 1-inch buckle is designed for. To have those 6 cords laying flat, perfectly fit in there. Okay, now, here's the trick. What do you do with the ends of these cords? You take them and you run them down through this bottom buckle. You go from the top through the buckle, right? Just like that. Do it on both sides. Slide everything over. Go through the top. Now here's the trick. This is what I was like, yeah, that's how you do it. It's so simple. It's not hard. All you do is you take this cord. Now, you can't see, hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Obviously, you get all this up, and I'll say this also. These 2 cow hitches, they serve a purpose, especially on this wide Bane's cup. These 2 cow hitches right here at the top, that's what the cord that you're going to weave your bracelet, that's what you feed it through. Those 2 cow hitches at the top. So the cow hitches serve kind of a double purpose. They create the extra cord on either side to go through the slot, and it creates a place for you to put the cord through that your weaving cord. Makes sense? Okay. But what you do is you come around here, you get your weaving cord through there. You tighten all this up to about where you want it, and like everybody who knows me knows, you got your jig set up just shy of where you actually want it. You get everything set up, and then you would tighten it up, right? Okay. Before you tighten it up, you get all this tight, and before you adjust the jig for that final measurement, you do this. Flip it over, and you take this. What do I do with this cord? You take this, and you just tie your overhead knot in it. Just a basic, everybody knows how to tie a regular old knot. Nothing fancy. But you take it and you work it all the way up to the very back side of this buckle. If I can do this, I can't quite see what I'm doing here, so I apologize. I'm trying to get this on camera. And you tighten it up. So now you have a knot. We can see that. Obviously, you're going to tighten it up, but you get it all the way up to the edge of this buckle. Make sense? I need to do the same thing with the other one. like I say, I can't see this. This is blocking my view. I'm looking on the camera trying to do this, so I apologize. It looks like I'm fumbling around because I can't see what I'm doing. See how I did that? Now you got a knot right here at the end of the cord. And what that does is it keeps this cord from coming back through this, feeding back through this buckle. Now, you get all this adjusted, then you adjust the carriage part of your jig and you tighten it up. And it keeps this locked in place. These everything's locked in place now. Does that make sense? Then you come back and you weave your bracelet over the top of this with the separate cord, your weaving cord. You weave, and when you get done, all you do is you take this and you weave it back weave it into the back side of the bracelet with the two cords that are actually your bracelet. Does that make sense? So basically, you've got 4 cords then. You have to weave them back up into the bracelet. That's all there is to it. That's what I come up with. That's the method I come up with. So, hopefully, if anybody's ever been thinking about making one of these and they didn't know what to do, didn't know how to do it, they've seen some of the videos and they were like, this is the method I come up with. So, like I say, take it, use it, modify it, adapt it. Hopefully it's helpful. Put it in the tool belt. It might be something you use down the road. And it could be used. There's a lot of bracelets, out there that have this quote-unquote independent cord or independent core strands that aren't part of the actual woven cords of the bracelet. You see what I'm saying? So, keep this in mind. It may be useful. Like I say, put it in your tool belt. It may be something useful. But with that, I'll end it like I end them all. Keep it neat, keep it clean, and keep it tight. Happy weaving, folks.